Hey everyone, today we're going to look at the Pythagorean Theorem. Just before, if you've completed the other video, Intro to Square Roots, this lesson will be a lot easier on you. So here's the theorem. Let A, B, and C be the lengths of the sides of a right-angled triangle, where C is the length of the hypotenuse. Then A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So here's our right-angled triangle. The hypotenuse is the longest length in a right angle triangle, and it's also opposite to the 90 degrees like that. So opposite 90 degrees is our hypotenuse. And so what this theorem says is that there's a relationship between the sides of a right angle triangle. The sides can't just be any numbers. They must follow this relationship. And in fact, if they don't follow this relationship, then the triangle is not a right angle triangle. So example 1 here. Which of the following triangles are right-angled triangles? So here we have 3 squared plus 4 squared gives us 25. And C squared, the hypotenuse, is 25. They're both 25, therefore it is a right-angled triangle. So we could put a little 90 degrees right here. B, 10 squared plus 2 squared gives 104. And the longest length, 11 squared, gives 121. These are not the same value. Therefore, this triangle is not a right-angle triangle. C, A squared plus B squared. So 1 squared plus 1 squared gives 2. Calculate our C squared here, which gives 4. They are not the same. Therefore, it is not a right-angle triangle. Okay, practice number 1. Which of the following triangles are right-angled triangles? Go ahead and pause the video and answer that question. Okay, A. 4 squared plus 6 squared gives 52. 8 squared gives 64. They're not the same, so it is not a right-angled triangle. B. 5 squared plus 12 squared gives 169. 13 squared gives 169. They're the same, therefore it is a right angle triangle. So we could put a little 90 degrees here between 12 and 5 like that. C. 7 squared plus 8 squared gives 113. 9 squared gives 81. They're not the same, so this is not a right angle triangle. Okay, example 2. Find the value of x, round the answers to 2 decimal places. So you can use your calculator for this. So we see here 6 squared plus x squared equals 8 squared. That's our initial setup right there. That's very important to see if it's the hypotenuse we're looking for or if it's a leg we're looking for. So 6 squared plus x squared equals 8 squared. 36 plus 8 squared equals 64. Our goal is to isolate x, so we want to get rid of this 36. So we go minus 36 to both sides, and we get x squared equals 28. We square root both sides to get rid of the square, and we have x equals root 28, which is approximately 5.29, like that. And you'll notice I did not put plus or minus. The reason why is because in this chapter, in this lesson, we're only looking at positive lengths, so the negative root 28 is rejected and we're only using the positive square root like that. So x equals positive 5.29. B, we have 5 squared plus 2 squared equals x squared, like that. 5 squared 25, 2 squared 4, so 29 equals x squared. Square root both sides, x equals 5.39 as our approximated value. C, 14 squared plus 14 squared equals x squared, like that. 196 plus 196, so 392. Square root both sides to get x on its own, so x is root 392, and that gives approximately 19.80. So if you're having any troubles with my square rooting both sides, go ahead and watch the video, Intro to Square Roots. We did some algebra in there that we're using in today's lesson. Okay, time for some practice. Practice number 2. Find the value of x in these given triangles and round the answers to 2 decimal places. Go ahead and pause the video and answer that. Okay, first one, A. 5 squared plus 12 squared equals x squared. That's our initial setup, like that. 25 plus 144, 169. Root both sides to isolate for x. X equals 13 as our length of the hypotenuse. B. 11 squared plus 8 squared equals x squared, like that. 11 squared, 121. 8 squared, 64. Add that up to 185. Square root both sides, and x equals root 185, which is approximately 13.60 as such. C. 16 squared plus x squared equals 20 squared. That's what we have here. 16 squared plus x squared is 20 squared. 256 plus x squared is 400. We want x squared on its own, so we go minus 256 to both sides. So x squared equals 144. Square root both sides to get x on its own. X is root 144, which is 12. So 12 is the length of our leg right there. D. 3 squared plus x squared equals 15 squared. So we got that written here like that. 9 plus x squared is 225. Minus 9 on both sides because we want x squared on its own. Square root both sides to have x is root 216, which is approximately 14.70. Okay, so I'll give you guys just a tip. When solving more complex problems, round your values only at the end of your calculations. If you round them before the end, your answers will be really off. So you want to round it only at the end. Okay. Practice number 3. Find the value of x and round your answers to 2 decimal places. So here our value of x here. B, the distance between A and B here is our value of x. And here x is on the side of this triangle right there. So go ahead and pause the video and answer these questions. Okay, A. First thing we're going to do is 4, 5, get that hypotenuse. So we have 4, 5, y squared. 4 squared plus 5 squared equals y squared. Y squared equals 41. Square root both sides. Y equals root 41. This is our more exact answer. We're going to leave it like that until the end. So that means this length here, y, is known. And so with this and 3, we can find x, like that. So 3 squared plus y squared equals x squared. Y is root 41. Squared that, so it cancels out. So 9 plus 41 equals x squared. X squared equals 50. Square root both sides, and x is approximately 7.07. B. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here is 5 and 3. There's a diagonal on the base as such. So we're going to find that length first. 5 and 3. We're going to call that diagonal length t as such. So 3 squared plus 5 squared is t squared. 9 plus 25, t squared. 34 is t squared. So that means root both sides. T equals root 34. And so now the distance between A and this corner is known. And then this height here gives a 90-degree angle. So we have this diagonal as t, and then this height as 3, and so distance between A and B is our hypotenuse here. So we have t and 3, and then x is the distance between A and B. So we have t squared plus 3 squared equals x squared. Plug in t, root 34, square both the root, and so it becomes 34 on its own. So x squared is 43. Square root both sides to get x on its own, and so x is approximately 6.56. Okay, C. Here's our triangles. 5, 8, we're going to call this height y. We're going to find our y length, and then with our y, go 10yx to get our x length, like that. So here we got 5 squared plus y squared equals 8 squared. Minus 5 squared to both sides, so y squared is 8 squared minus 5 squared, which gives 39. So y squared is 39. Square root both sides, y equals root 39, like that. Now looking at our second triangle, x squared plus y squared equals 10 squared, which we have set up here. Y is root 39, so we plug that in. And the square and the square root cancel out. So we get x squared equals 100 minus 39, right? Do minus 39 on both sides. So x squared is 61. Square root both sides, and we have x equals approximately 7.81. Okay, let's look at what's called the Pythagorean Triple. So a group of positive integers, a, b, c, that satisfy a squared plus b squared equals c squared can be thought of as an ordered triplet, a, b, and c. This triplet is called a Pythagorean triple. So 3, 4, 5 is a Pythagorean triple because 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared, like that. And so some practice for you guys here, practice using Pythagorean triples. Find the value that is missing from the Pythagorean triple. So go ahead and pause the video and answer that. Okay, we're back. So what do we have here? 8 squared plus 15 squared equals x squared, like that. Our third value is our hypotenuse. So 8 squared plus 15 squared equals x squared, like that. This makes x squared equals 289. Square root both sides, x equals 17, as such. B, 15 squared plus x squared equals 25 squared, like that. Minus 15 squared to both sides. 625 minus 225. X squared equals 400. Get rid of the x squared by square rooting both sides. X equals 20 is our missing value. C, 16 squared plus x squared equals 34 squared. As such, minus 16 squared to both sides. X squared is 1156 minus 256. So x squared is 900. Square root both sides. X equals 30 as our missing value. And that's it. I'll see you guys in the next lesson.